reports of chaos on the motorways as thousands of people attempt to flee the cities.
Shaun of the Dead is brilliant, but if that's true, then for my money, Hot Fuzz is the paragon of genre-blending Edgar Wrightian perfection.
Show me.
An awesome collage of 80s, 90s satirical buddy cop, Mrs. Marple, countryside slasher whodunit action thriller that, for anybody else, would be a complete disaster.
You've got me there.
So today, I'm going to take a quick look at some of the films and film styles that Hot Fuzz pays tribute to.
I know what you're thinking.
Many of which have been shaping Edgar Wright's filmmaking.
I know what you're thinking, punk.
For a lot longer than you might realize. I should go ahead and start by acknowledging that this being the second in a trilogy of Simon Pegg Nick Frost comedies, it's only natural that a film like Hot Fuzz would find ways of tying itself back to its own predecessor, with Shaun of the Dead. Some of these references, naturally, are in its dialogue.
Yeah, boy! Yeah, Roy!
Some are in its physical comedy. Some way in the background.
Hold on!
And others were entire jokes written and shot that never quite made the cut.
Now what does exacerbate mean?
It means, to make things worse.
Right.
You know, make things worse.
I'm aware of the meaning of exacerbate, sir.
Of course you are.
In general, though, the tributes that Hot Fuzz pays are to the genre films that inspired it.
Point Break or Bad Boys 2.
Several of these, of course, are woven directly into the script.
Shit just got real.
Frank, this shit just got real.
While others are more subtle or more embedded, from specific shots,
You mothers.
to special camera techniques,
There was hand cranking.
to character influences,
I've just been looking over your arrest report.
Your arrest record is 400% higher than any other officer.
What?
physicality,
He is like the T-1000, that's why I was running like that.
action set pieces, to the final showdown at the end. Crazy thing is, until Hot Fuzz came out, there really were no British cop action movies. Crime films, gangster films, but not 80s, 90s, early 2000s American-style shoot-em-ups or vigilante thrillers. This was Edgar Wright's attempt to bring that style to the UK, with of course a distinctly British twist. And it's through that juxtaposition between distinctly American action and a distinctly un-American action setting and cast where a lot of the film's humor is manifested, especially as the movie ramps up out of its detective thriller comedy segment and into its high-octane final act.
And in order to write the film, myself and Edgar watched a hell of a lot of cop films in order to get the inspiration that we needed to come up with this mega epic. Some of those films are classics and some of them aren't. Cop films, Edgar, you're a bit of an aficionado, aren't you?
Yes.
There you go. Join us next week for...
Which isn't at all to say that every one of Wright's influences comes stateside. Films like Murder on the Orient Express and the original Wicker Man from 1973 in particular was hugely influential on the premise and the tone of much of the film's setting and its characters. But that flip that we see in this movie from thriller mystery vibe to all guns blazing action flick is interesting for another reason, in the way it's marked. The switch is distinct and it occurs right here, as Angel decides to return to Sanford and save the day. From this point on, two technical things change, as the genre changes. One, Pegg's voice. All of his lines are suddenly looped close mic.
Not exactly.
To sound like a dramatic 80s action film.
This is something I have to do myself.
And two, on average, the lenses Wright uses change from predominantly wide angle to long. Wider lenses being more often used in comedy because it captures more physical expression and reaction.
Detective Sergeant Wainwright and Detective Constable Cartwright.
And longer lenses in action and thrillers to better capture impact or the drama of individuals.
What are you going to do?
I'll get in my truck and leave.
Tony Scott was a director particularly well known for his use of long lenses, and remains really one of the most under-referenced influences on Hot Fuzz stylistically, in the way the film is lit, in its action, and as I alluded to earlier, in its frequent use of a hand-cranked camera to allow for variable frame speeds mid-shot. Even going so far as to use the technique to dramatize mundane action, like Angel filling out paperwork, something you don't see in most cop films because it generally isn't all that interesting to watch.
I
I come out of like Hot Fuzz with a lot of respect for people like Michael Bay and Tony Scott, or people who can marshal those enormous kind of action scenes, or like Robert Rodriguez or Michael Mann. And, you know, actually making those things is really difficult, and the choreography of it, and, you know, and keeping the moment, and those guys make those things look easy, and they're not easy at all.
But as capable as Edgar Wright is at making movies, at drawing inspiration from the genre films he loves and putting his own twist on them, I think it's easy to forget that this is a craft that he had been honing since long before Hot Fuzz, long before Shaun of the Dead, and yeah, even long before Spaced.
So, you gonna ask me why they call me Dirty Barry?
Dead Right was my attempt at doing a Dirty Harry film. In fact, the title, Dead Right, is the working title for Dirty Harry.
You're thinking, did he fire 6
shots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth,
I kind of forgot myself in all this excitement.
In so many ways, this was the precursor to Hot Fuzz.
I know. Great, isn't it?
There's quite a number of things that occur both in Dead Right and Hot Fuzz. The gag where somebody's talking and the killer's standing right behind them and they move out of the way.
Okay.
And there's the killer. In Dead Right, there's an early attempt at a tooling up sequence.
Two victims, one partner. Payback.
There are armory scenes in both Hot Fuzz and Dead Right.
With the power of Grayskull.
Yes.
This was subconscious. I didn't really think about it until until we started writing again. But the gag about you know, a hostage situation, somebody saying, "Throw your gun over here," and the person just throwing it.
Plus, both films are obviously about cops and guns, both are highly referential and self-aware.
No! Don't shoot me! Who's gonna direct?
Both were shot in Wright's hometown of Wells, in the same churchyard, outside the same grocery store where Wright used to work, have physical gags, end in similar showdowns. Even so many of Wright's signature camera moves, the stuff he's become so famous for, were first practiced here on Dead Right.
I think with the style of it, there's a lot of things that I kind of, you know, sort of in the 14-year gap between this and Hot Fuzz have been endlessly trying to perfect, of like transitions and wipes, whip pans.
Also crash zooms.
Gotcha.
Honestly, it's all pretty wild.
In these type of films, doesn't the partner normally die?
To see where it all began.
He wanted to be a film star, and so we took him to see a film shoot to see what was entailed when he was 6. When he came off set, I said, well, do you still want to be a film star? He said, no, I want to be the director.
Trey, we're going to keep running this in one more. No, just don't say sorry at the end. Say the sort of like, come on, it might be fun, and then both look out.
Okay, so we're rolling.
There's a big difference between pastiche art and cookie-cutter imitation.
Yes, sirs. What can I get you?
Only a great film can be so referential to its influences, so much a love letter, while also standing on its own merits as a great addition to its genre. A shining example of taking something that worked and leveraging that success to craft something greater, endlessly rewatchable, packed so full of gags and references that the vast majority of them won't be noticed by the vast majority of people.
All that remains now for the film is to be edited, dubbed, graded, scored. That takes a long time, but our work is done. We'll see you again sometime, perhaps at the theatre. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
As always, I'm Danny Boyd. Thank you so much for watching. Hey everybody, today's video was brought to you by Mubi, a curated streaming service dedicated to elevating great cinema from all across the world. From iconic directors to emerging auteurs, Mubi has always got something new and amazing to discover. And that's because with Mubi, every film you see is hand-selected by a team of curators, real people, giving you access to the best of cinema at your fingertips, streaming anytime, anywhere. And if you want to check out one of the hugest influences on Edgar Wright's career, right now in Mubi you can watch George Romero's legendary Night of the Living Dead, the first of the Living Dead films that would revolutionize zombie films forever. You can watch it or anything else streaming on Mubi for free with an extended 30-day trial if you go to mubi.com/CinemaStix. Again, that's mubi.com/CinemaStix for a whole month of great cinema for free.